Did you know that the Austin metro area has some of the most expensive places you can live in the entire state of Texas? And on average, the entire metro area is one of the most expensive places. There are some places where you can find some more affordable homes if you get out on the outskirts, on the edges, up in Liberty Hill, out to Manor, Elgin, Bastrop. Some of those places you can still find homes in the mid threes, maybe even under 300,000 in some of those places. It is possible, but we're still one of the most expensive places to live in the entire state of Texas. And that's just one of the things that you probably need to know if you're thinking about moving here, especially if you're thinking about moving here because you've heard that Texas is more affordable, that you can save money. You know, you can do that maybe, but this is probably going to be the worst place for you to come in if you're specifically trying to save money. But there are a lot of other great things that living in Austin has to offer in the whole Austin area. So stick around if you want to see. Got 12 more things. We've got a list of 13 things that you really need to know. And I'm going to go a little deeper on this list than, it's extremely dog friendly. So if you have a dog, or you know what, matter of fact, you're just pretty much going to need to get a dog. I've said that in another video. So let me know what kind of dog you have in the comments. I like to know what kind of dogs people are bringing to the area, or what kind are you going to get? Just add to it, add to the fun. But we're going to get to some serious ones, and we're going to jump right into the second one, which is, Texas. You think of Texas and think of what the image in your mind of a Texan, okay? And those people, Texans, really love to hate Austin. So if you're going to be living in Austin, just get used to it, get ready for it. You're going to catch a little shade from some of these other cities and from, the whole rural part of Texas, which is pretty big. You're going to catch that if you get online, if you go to Facebook and look in some of these groups, you're going to see, they'll put up the meme of which city would you get rid of? Which one is the worst? Which one is the worst for this? Which one's the worst for that? Comment after comment after comment. Austin, get rid of Austin. Austin's not even Texas, blah, blah, blah. It's California. That's what you're going to see. And some people look at Austin as pretty much being the outpost of California and Texas with all of the relocation that we've had. And for better or worse, I'll say, there's a flip side to that too. You've got a lot more diverse group of people, both, just pretty much in every way you can mean that, ideologies and cultures, and it's all, to me, there's a lot of good about that, but, it also is making it a little bit less of that Texan ideology that you get, although I think it's still prevalent. I think we're still Texan. I think so. You can disagree with me in the comments if you want to. There are a lot of reasons, and some of those are on this list of why, people, living here in Texas love to hate Austin. And, that's probably, even jumping up to number 4. But hey, make sure that, what? You need to, okay, yeah. Just go and tell. All right, yes. He's reminding me number 3 is, on the list is pretty important too, which is, you got to know these things. And if you want to learn about all these things about living in Austin, Texas, moving here, all the cities, the suburbs, the neighborhoods, we cover that here on this channel, and we're going to tell you things like this that you need to know. So make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, and click the bell while you're here. That way you'll stay informed, and you'll know all this before you get here. And getting into number 4 on the list, that's going to really help you, because if you get here and you try to figure out all this stuff on your own, you're going to spend a lot of time, because you're going to be driving around, you're going to be dealing with the traffic, okay? The traffic here, to say that it's gotten worse over the last few years would probably be a little bit of an understatement, because, yeah, it has gotten worse, a good bit worse, and how it is right now is probably the best it's going to be for a while, just because we are continuing to have this influx of people coming here to enjoy all the great things. And I don't want this list to be about how bad Austin is, because it's just some things you need to know, but there are a lot of great things about living here. It's why you're maybe thinking about moving here. It's why tons of people are moving here to the area in spite of maybe some of the negatives, but that is contributing to that traffic issue. And what else is contributing to it is the fact that it's just really hard to expand the roads around here. Some of them, the main artery coming through I-35, which is another place that Texans love to hate, pretty much from Dallas all the way down to San Antonio. But the stretch coming through Austin gets an extra little bit of hate, because it can be just backed up all the time. I mean, you pretty much are always going to have traffic unless you're coming through it, 3 or 4 a.m. Get ready to have some traffic on I-35, and there's not a lot they can do to expand that road, just because it's coming right through downtown. And, there's things on the right side, the left side. Where are you going to put more road? There's nowhere to do it. So the only thing they can do, which they are working on, is kind of extending the part where you've got an upper and lower deck of that road. So they're kind of pushing that on through, which will help a little bit, but that takes a lot of time. It's really expensive. It's definitely not the easiest way to expand a road, but they're working on it. They're trying. It's just going to take some time. And then on the west side of the Austin metro area, you're getting into the hill country, which is beautiful. I love the hill country. It's one of the things that really attracted me to the area. However, it also can be really difficult for roads and infrastructure because you've got that rocky terrain, that soil. You're up and down, so you're cutting through these hills. Well, technically they are mountains, believe it or not. If you look it up, the Texas Hill Country is a mountain range. But if you're coming from somewhere like out west where you've got real mountains, you may not think so, but it is technically. And you've got that same kind of problem where you're cutting through these small mountains, these hills, to build these roads or to expand the roads, which makes it take a lot more time, which makes it a lot more expensive. And that's where a lot of the growth has been over the past, couple decades. A lot of that has been on that side of town. But now you've got Tesla, you've got Samsung, Boring Company, a lot of that coming on the east side. And over on the east side, it actually will be a lot better. You've got a lot of flat open spaces, kind of that stereotypical Texas view. You think in your mind, what does Texas look like? Big open area. Well, that's what you've got over on the east side of town where all that is. So there's room over there. So if you're going to be on that side, it may work out for you a little bit better than if you're looking on the west side, or if you're going to be looking up towards Cedar Park or Leander. It's just a little bit tighter on that side. There's not as much that they can do. But there is something that you can do that'll make this process a whole lot easier for you if you're thinking about moving to anywhere, east, west, north, south, anywhere in the Austin metro. We can take care of you. We got the team in place here to help you out, and I love making these videos, but I love it even more. We can help you get here moved to anywhere in the ATX. So check out this number here. Take it down. Take a second. You can pause the video, stop, whatever you need to do. There's the number. The email's right below that. Call, text, email, hit us up, whatever it takes, get in touch with us so we can take care of you. And let's get on to the next thing with, you got the traffic. That is the problem that it is. And, if you'd like to avoid that, if you'd like to get around it, it's going to be really difficult because there's really not a lot of public transportation for you here in the area. Now, we do have a pretty good bus network in the city of Austin. Once you get outside the city of Austin, it's kind of sparse. It doesn't really go much beyond that. We do have a rail line, just one, that runs from downtown up through the Lakeline area at Cedar Park and Leander right now where it stops. But that's it. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of efforts to expand that, but they keep hitting some roadblocks. The costs keep going up. And I don't know. I mean, eventually I think that will expand. We'll see that at some point. But it's not there right now, and it's probably not going to be there for several years just because, it's going to take a while. They've got to get it approved and get it done and figure out exactly how they're going to do it and pay for it. And hopefully pay for it without raising taxes again, which they just keep doing. So, that is what it is. You don't have that, so you're going to be pretty car dependent. And really the only other way that you can kind of beat the traffic at all is going to be the toll roads. So you do have a lot of toll roads that they have built out in the area, which again is another thing that's, kind of good and kind of bad. It will allow you to get places a little more quickly, especially if you're in that Leander, Cedar Park area. You're probably going to have to use the toll road over there. You don't pretty much have a choice. You've got that 183 toll running north-south through that area. You can avoid it. You can get on the old 183 alternate and run through there, but you're going to hit some red lights. And if you need to get somewhere quick, it's going to take you a while. Mopac, I haven't had that big of an issue with Mopac. I actually think it's pretty good run on the west side of town there. And that's probably because I use the express lane a pretty good bit if I need to get somewhere quickly. That is there. It's another toll. You got the 45 toll. You got the 130 toll on the east side, running over there by where the Tesla plant is, and on the way up there through Pflugerville and that whole side of town. So, hey, they definitely help, but it's going to cost you. If you're driving that all the time, that's going to add up. If you need to do it just every now and then, it's okay, but it can add up. But it's there. It will help you beat that traffic sometimes and definitely help you get somewhere a lot quicker, especially with those 85 mile an hour speed limits, which we do love those. That is a nice thing about having those. You get on there and go 85. Really, let's be serious. You can go 90, which speaking of 90, a 90-degree day, the way things have been, would be a nice change. It'd feel like a nice, cool fall day if it was 90 degrees, because it's been in the triple digits for a while here coming through the summer. Yeah, it gets hot, and that's one of the things, we talk about that. People know it. You kind of just inherently know if you're going to be moving to anywhere in the south, from in the south, from I guess Arizona to Georgia, it's going to be hot. Here, you're kind of in the middle of that southeast and the southwest. So you got the humidity. The more as you go southeast, as somebody who's lived in the southeast, trust me, it's way more humid over there. Your Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana, Houston, it's really humid over there. To me, someone who's lived in that area, it's really not that humid here. But I talk to people all the time coming from out west. If you're coming from California, Arizona, and Colorado, and some places, it's going to be a lot more humid than what you're used to. And, you might see that 105 temperature, which here lately, that's what it's been. But it might feel like 115. It might even feel closer to 120 with that humidity that you're throwing on top of it with that heat index. So get ready to deal with that heat, especially in July and August. This time of year, it's just tough. And, it used to be that was really the biggest thing, the heat, dealing with it in the summer. Obviously we're not historically a place where you're going to have big snowstorms and ice storms to deal with in the winter. We really don't have too much in the way of tornadoes. They can happen here, but not as common as they are in the southeast. But there are some extreme weather patterns that have happened here. So dealing with that extreme weather is another thing, not just the heat. We had that big the snow and ice storm in 2021. We had another little ice storm this year. So it's just becoming more common where we got these wild swings. We got the things happening in the winter, and we've got the hot summers as well. But I will say it's still not, if you're used to living up north where you're going to be shoveling snow all the time, we're talking about where, we had just this crazy event where snow and ice was on the ground for, a full week. That usually doesn't happen. It's still, if we get that, it's usually gone within a day or two, and it pretty much shuts everything down. I mean, we're just not equipped to deal with it here. We don't have the ability to plow and treat roads. So if something like that happens, you're probably going to be staying at home. But it is what it is. Other things though, hurricanes have been a big deal lately, just more of them, more intense. We are kind of far enough inland here that it's very rare that we're going to have extreme impacts from hurricanes. Obviously we can have storms, we can have a lot of rain, which at this point, if we could get one come up through that wouldn't hurt the coast too bad, it would be really beneficial for the rest of the state, because it has been really dry for a long time here. We're really needing that water to replenish the lakes. If you look out Lake Travis, you can see how low it is. And then also the groundwater, there's aquifers in the region here that some parts of the area get water from too. And so it's really needed to replenish that. So yeah, some rain would be nice. It's really dry. So it's another part of the extreme weather, is just the drought we have. And all this extreme weather, the hot, the cold, it really taxes our power grid here. And if you don't know, Texas has its own power grid. So a lot of the rest of the country, I think there's two big power grids that kind of control and power the rest of the entire United States. But here in Texas, we've got our own power grid, which, for better or worse, that's just how it is. It does allow for some competition that you don't get in a lot of other parts of the country, where you can choose different power providers, which can sometimes save you some money, but definitely read the fine print, because as some people found out in some of those extreme weather events, it can catch you off guard if you pick the wrong one and you don't realize that when the wholesale price goes up, your price might go up as well. So just something to keep in mind. And another thing to keep in mind when you go outside pretty much any time of year, all the different wildlife and then the bugs and critters and things like that in the summer. Yes, we do have mosquitoes, and they would just about carry you away. So be careful with those. You might want to get you some mosquito spray if you're going to be going outside for any extended period of time, especially if you're going to be around any place where there's standing water or a lot of vegetation or anything like that. They're going to get you. But we also do have a pretty good variety of other things like scorpions. You will find some snakes around the area. So a lot of that will be more common the more you get away from the cities, you get out into the more rural parts of the areas. But you're going to see that in the summer. In the winter too, you still got some things to watch for, especially when you're driving down those country roads, the highways. You will see some deer out there, and they move around a lot. We got a pretty healthy deer population here in the Austin area and all of Central Texas, and that's why hunting is so popular around here. So if you like to hunt, get out there and help control that deer population, keep it from getting too wild. And that is one thing we have had around here. We've had really big populations of not only deer but also the wild hog population too. So you can get out here and go on a hog hunt as well if that's something that you want to do. A lot of opportunities for stuff like that. Other things though, you might want to get out. Maybe you want to get out and enjoy some sports. You like a good NFL game. I don't know who your favorite team is. You can let me know. If it's the Cowboys though, you got to drive all the way up to Dallas for that. If it's the Houston Texans, you got to obviously go to Houston. You like the Spurs, usually you're going to have to go down to San Antonio, although they have started playing some games here in the Austin area. I think they're trying to capitalize on the fact that these two metro areas are kind of growing together and working towards somewhat of a unified identity, although I think people in both cities maybe don't want that. But hey, it is what it is. It is kind of happening, so they're trying to capitalize on it. But if you don't want to travel, the options you do have here in town, you do have a MLS soccer team here that we've had for just a few years, and it has been wildly popular. Say people here are really loving to get out and enjoy that. If you like baseball, you do have the Round Rock Express, which is the AAA affiliate of the Texas Rangers. You just don't have an actual MLB team right here in the area. And of course, we've had the Circuit of the Americas for I think about 10 years now, where you see F1 races come to town. NASCAR, I think they don't come every year, but you do get NASCAR out there as well. So if you like racing, motorsports, NASCAR, F1, you got that too. So there is something to do. We do have some fun things to do, but it's just some of the ones you do have to travel. I will say I have heard rumors that we actually might get our own Major League Baseball team right here in the Austin area. And if you can corroborate those rumors, let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe somebody out there knows. But yeah, I've heard that. We just don't have it today. So if you want to enjoy those other sports, they're not too far away in Texas. I mean, you know, a 2 or 3 hour drive, you got pretty much anything you want. Now, another thing that you can't enjoy, at least legally, anywhere in the state of Texas is going to be cannabis, marijuana, even medical marijuana. You know, if you're somebody that relies on that, if you've got a condition that it helps with, you know, it's something that you're going to have to keep in mind. It's going to be very difficult to get that, at least legally. However, if you have it on you already, however you got it, it's kind of crazy how they've done this. You can't buy it, but you can pretty much have it on you. And, you know, most of the cities around the city of Austin, a lot of these metro area cities are not going to mess with you. Or really, they're just going to leave you alone and just let you have that out in public. So if you go out, you know, nightlife area, 6th Street, if you go to concerts like, you know, ACL coming up, you're probably going to see that out there, and there's pretty much no danger, at least legally, from having that. So again, you know, it's tough to get, but if you can get it, if you got your own way to get it, then you're pretty much going to be left alone. And maybe that's controversial, but I think at this point, you got so many states that are legalizing it. You've got pushes to do things at the federal level. So I think it's only a matter of time before you will have that here. But something that is less controversial is the last one on the list, and that is, and before I get to it, if you made it this far, drop me a like down there. It really does help, and I really do appreciate it. But yeah, something that you won't like and no one likes are the property taxes that we have here in Texas. They have been notoriously high for a long time. But here lately, with all the rapid appreciation that we've had over the last few years, those property tax payments have gone right up with it. And it can be pretty brutal in some instances. You know, and we're looking at 2 to 3% of the assessed value. Now, that assessed value is typically going to be a little less than what the market value would be, which is a good thing because you're paying taxes on that assessed value, not necessarily what the market appraisal value would be. But it can still 2 or 3% of, you know, if it's an $800,000 house, maybe it gets assessed around $550 or $600. 2 or 3% of that every year is still a pretty good bit. Now, you do get some exceptions here in Texas. Most everybody, if you own your home, you can get a homestead exemption on one property, and that will save you a pretty good bit. But here coming up soon, it's going to save you even more with the things that they have recently voted on. It's going to increase that homestead exemption and change some other things with rates and school districts. So, you know, they're saying it's going to save the average homeowner 40%. So 40%, that'll be a big deal, and I think we're going to see a big influx of people. And if you're thinking about moving here, it's something that I think you need to understand, not just what's coming up potentially with the changes. And I say potential because technically, even though it's been signed by the governor, it still has to be voted on in November by the public. I just can't imagine this not passing. You know, I don't know if they've tried to sneak some other things in there that people don't like. I haven't looked into it that deep. But I do know what it's supposed to do to help, at least on the good side, that pretty much everybody is looking forward to. So I can't see that it won't pass. So that will be coming up. So if you want to know really how to understand Texas property taxes and what this means, this new thing coming up, what it would save you money compared to the current system, I'm just going to do a whole video about that just because it's a pretty deep thing. And yeah, I think it deserves its own video. So I'll put that right there. Check that out, and I'll see you there.